Good evening. This is All India Radio. I am Nishit Kumar and with me is Renuka RS with the evening news. The headlines. Prime Minister Narendra Modi says state governments will not have to bear any cost towards vaccinating 3 crore health workers and frontline workers in the first stage. India aims to achieve vaccination for 30 crore people in the next few months, says Prime Minister. Ministry of Finance releases 11th weekly installment of 6,000 crore rupees to the states to meet the GST revenue shortfall. Bird flu confirmed in 10 states of the country. Home Minister Amit Shah asserts that coal sector has the potential to be the biggest contributor for making India a $5 trillion economy. And in cricket, Team India snatches a memorable draw from Australia in the Sydney Test 4-match series tied 1-1. As the nation fights the COVID-19 pandemic, we begin with a message of precaution to stay safe and protected by following these 3 simple steps. Wear a face mask, maintain 2 gaz ki duri for social distancing, and focus on hand and face hygiene. And now the news in detail. Prime Minister Narendra Modi today said that India is starting the world's largest vaccination program this Saturday. Interacting with the chief ministers of all states this evening, Mr. Modi took stock of COVID-19 situation and discussed vaccination rollout program. He said 2 vaccines, Covishield and Covaxin, which are made in India, have been granted approval for emergency use. He said both the vaccines are cost effective.
बड़ी बात जो मैं दोहराना चाहता हूं कि हमारी दोनों वैक्सीन दुनिया की दूसरी वैक्सीन से ज्यादा कॉस्ट इफेक्टिव है। हम कल्पना कर सकते हैं अगर भारत को कोरोना टीकाकरण के लिए विदेशी वैक्सीन पर पूरी तरह निर्भर रहना पड़ता तो हमारे क्या हालत होते, कितनी बड़ी मुश्किल होती, हम उसका अंदाज लगा सकते हैं। ये वैक्सीन भारत की स्थितियां और परिस्थितियों को देखते हुए निर्मित की गई है। भारत के टीकाकरण का जो अनुभव है, जो दूर सुदूर क्षेत्रों तक पहुंचने की व्यवस्थाएं हैं, वो कोरोना वैक्सीनेशन कार्यक्रम में बहुत उपयोगी सिद्ध होने वाली है।
The Prime Minister added, apart from these 2 vaccines, 4 others are in the pipeline.
अब हमारा देश कोरोना के खिलाफ लड़ाई में एक निर्णायक चरण में प्रवेश कर रहा है। ये चरण है वैक्सीनेशन का। जैसे यहाँ जिक्र हुआ, 16 जनवरी से हम दुनिया का सबसे बड़ा टीकाकरण अभियान शुरू कर रहे हैं। ये हम सभी के लिए गौरव की बात है कि जिन 2 वैक्सीन को इमरजेंसी यूज ऑथराइजेशन दिया गया है, वो दोनों ही मेड इन इंडिया है। इतना ही नहीं, 4 और वैक्सीन प्रोग्रेस में है।
Mr. Modi said in the first phase the vaccine will be given to the health workers and other frontline workers. The Prime Minister said in the first phase the cost of vaccination for these 3 crore people will be borne by the central government. In the second phase, those above 50 years and those under 50 years with comorbid conditions will be vaccinated.
सभी राज्यों के साथ सलाह मशवरा करके ही ये तय किया गया है कि टीकाकरण अभियान की शुरुआत में किसे प्राथमिकता दी जाएगी। हमारी कोशिश सबसे पहले उन लोगों तक कोरोना वैक्सीन पहुंचाने की है जो देशवासियों की स्वास्थ्य सुरक्षा में जुटे हुए हैं, जो हमारे हेल्थ वर्कर्स, सरकारी हो या प्राइवेट, पहले उनको टीका लगाया जाएगा। इसके साथ साथ हमारे जो सफाई कर्मचारी हैं, दूसरे फ्रंटलाइन वर्कर्स हैं, सैन्य बल है, पुलिस और केंद्रीय बल है, होमगार्ड है, डिजास्टर मैनेजमेंट वॉलंटियर समेत तमाम सिविल डिफेंस के जवान हैं, कंटेनमेंट और सर्वेलेंस से जुड़े रेवेन्यू कर्मचारी हैं, ऐसे साथियों को भी पहले चरणों में टीका लगाया जा रहा है।
The Prime Minister said that state governments will not have to bear any cost towards vaccinating 3 crore health workers and frontline workers in the first stage.
देश के अलग अलग राज्यों के हेल्थ वर्कर्स, फ्रंटलाइन वर्कर्स की संख्या देखें तो एक करीब 3 करोड़ होती है। ये तय किया गया है कि पहले चरण में इन 3 करोड़ लोगों को वैक्सीन देने के लिए जो खर्च होगा वो राज्य सरकारों को वहन नहीं करना है, भारत सरकार इसको वहन करेगी।
The Prime Minister said the experts have taken all precautions to provide the countrymen with effective vaccines. He said the government has made necessary preparations for patients if the COVID vaccine shows any side effects.
देशवासियों को एक प्रभावी वैक्सीन देने के लिए हमारे एक्सपर्ट्स ने हर प्रकार की सावधानियां बरती हैं और अभी साइंटिफिक कम्युनिटी की तरफ से विस्तार से हमें बताया भी गया है। और आपको मालूम होगा, मैं इस विषय में जब भी मुख्यमंत्रियों के साथ बात हुई, मैंने हमेशा एक ही जवाब दिया था कि इस विषय में हम जो भी निर्णय करना होगा वो साइंटिफिक कम्युनिटी जो कहेगी वो ही हम करेंगे। साइंटिफिक कम्युनिटी को ही हम फाइनल वर्ड मानेंगे और हम उसी प्रकार चलते रहे हैं। कई लोग कहते थे, देखिए दुनिया में वैक्सीन आ गई, भारत क्या कर रहा है, भारत सो रहा है, इतने लाख हो गया, इतना हो गया, भारत कुछ, ऐसी भी चिल्लाहट हुई। लेकिन फिर भी हमारा मत था ये साइंटिफिक कम्युनिटी और जो इसके लिए जिम्मेवार लोग हैं उनकी तरफ से जब आएगा तभी हमारे लिए उचित होगा और हम उसी दिशा में चले हैं।
The Prime Minister said that discussion and cooperation between states and the centre has helped a lot in the fight against COVID, and we have presented a good example of federalism. The Prime Minister said that COVID-19 pandemic has not spread in India on that scale which is being seen anywhere else in the world. He said it is a result of working together by standing unitedly during COVID crisis as well as quick decisions which were taken with full sensitivity. Remembering ex-Prime Minister Shri Lal Bahadur Shastri on his death anniversary, the Prime Minister said that the nation has taken the lesson from him to work unitedly to resolve the national problem.
आज हमारे देश के पूर्व प्रधानमंत्री स्वर्गीय लाल बहादुर शास्त्री जी की पुण्यतिथि भी है। मैं उन्हें अपनी भावभीनी श्रद्धांजलि अर्पित करता हूँ। 1965 में शास्त्री जी ने एडमिनिस्ट्रेटिव सर्विस की एक कॉन्फ्रेंस में एक महत्वपूर्ण बात कही थी। मुझे संतोष है कि कोरोना के इस संकट काल में हम सभी ने एकजुट होकर काम किया। जो सीख लाल बहादुर शास्त्री जी ने दी थी उसी पर चलने का हम सबने प्रयास किया और इस दरमियान संवेदनशीलता के साथ त्वरित फैसले भी किए गए, जरूरी संसाधन भी जुटाए गए और देश की जनता को हम लगातार जागरूक भी करते रहे। और आज इसी का परिणाम है कि भारत में कोरोना का संक्रमण वैसा नहीं है और न ही वैसा फैला है जैसा दुनिया के अन्य देशों में हमने देखा है।
The Prime Minister urged all states and union territories to ensure that rumors around the vaccination program are not allowed to spread. It said corporate competition and vested interests of certain lobbies within and outside the country may be at work to fuel the rumors. The Prime Minister said that India has already chalked out universal immunization mechanism for smoothly administering the vaccine to the big population.
भारत में हमें अगले कुछ महीनों में ही लगभग 30 करोड़ आबादी के टीकाकरण का लक्ष्य हासिल करना है। इस चुनौती का पूर्वानुमान लगाते हुए ही बीते महीनों में भारत ने बहुत व्यापक तैयारियां की हैं। कोरोना की वैक्सीन से अगर किसी को कुछ असहजता होती है तो उसके लिए भी जरूरी प्रबंध किए गए हैं। यूनिवर्सल इम्यूनाइजेशन प्रोग्राम में पहले से ही इसके लिए एक मैकेनिज्म हमारे पास रहता है। कोरोना टीकाकरण के लिए इसको और मजबूत किया गया है।
The Prime Minister urged all states and union territories to ensure that rumors around the vaccination program are not allowed to spread. The Prime Minister remarked that the most important factor in this vaccination drive is identification and monitoring of those who need to be vaccinated.
साथियों, इस टीकाकरण अभियान में सबसे अहम उनकी पहचान और मॉनिटरिंग का है जिनको टीका लगाना है। इसके लिए आधुनिक टेक्नोलॉजी का उपयोग करते हुए कोविन नाम का एक डिजिटल प्लेटफॉर्म भी बनाया गया है। आधार की मदद से लाभार्थियों की पहचान भी की जाएगी और उनको दूसरी डोज समय पर मिले, ये भी सुनिश्चित किया जाएगा। मेरा आप सभी से विशेष आग्रह रहेगा कि टीकाकरण से जुड़ा रियल टाइम डेटा कोविन पर अपलोड हो, ये सुनिश्चित करना है।
Prime Minister Narendra Modi today said events being held virtually has given a great opportunity for youngsters to be a part of many interesting domestic and global forums. In a tweet, Mr. Modi said, Prarambh, the Startup India International Summit, which is being held on the 15th and 16th of this month, is one such opportunity. He urged the youth to be a part of it. This summit seeks to bring together the top minds from industry, academia, investment, banking, finance, and young startup leaders. The nation would also be marking 5 years since the Startup India initiative began. This initiative has propelled India to be among the most attractive startup ecosystems globally. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has approved an ex gratia of 2 lakh rupees each from Prime Minister's National Relief Fund for the next of kin of those who have lost their lives due to the tragic hospital fire in Bhandara district of Maharashtra. He has also approved 50,000 rupees to those seriously injured. Road Transport and Highways Minister Nitin Gadkari will be launching an innovative new paint developed by Khadi and Village Industries Commission tomorrow. The eco-friendly, non-toxic paint called Khadi Prakritik Paint is a first-of-its-kind product with antifungal, antibacterial properties, based on cow dung as its main ingredient. The paint is cost-effective and odorless and has been certified by Bureau of Indian Standards.
The Ministry of Finance has released the 11th weekly installment of 6,000 crore rupees to the states to meet the GST compensation shortfall. Out of this, an amount of over 5,516 crore rupees has been released to 23 states and an amount of 483 crore rupees has been released to the 3 union territories with Legislative Assembly, Delhi, Jammu and Kashmir and Puducherry. The remaining 5 states, Arunachal Pradesh, Manipur, Mizoram, Nagaland and Sikkim, did not have a gap in revenue on account of GST implementation. The minister said now 60% of the estimated GST compensation shortfall has been released to the states and UTs with legislative assemblies. Out of this, an amount of over 60,000 crore rupees has been released to the states and an amount of over 5,933 crore rupees has been released to the UTs with legislative assemblies. Lok Sabha Speaker Om Birla has said that youth must work towards taking India to the path of prosperity and progress. Addressing the participants at the inaugural session of the finals of the National Youth Parliament 2021 in the Central Hall of Parliament House today, Mr. Birla said Youth Parliament will go a long way in strengthening spirit of democracy in keeping with the motto of Nation First. He said Prime Minister Narendra Modi had given an important direction to the youth who are working towards taking India forward through innovation and new thinking in various fields during his Mann Ki Baat program in 2017. He expressed confidence that in the coming years, Indian youth would be at the forefront of an innovation-based world through their technical knowledge and skills. Speaking on the occasion, Youth Affairs and Sports Minister Kiran Rijiju said that new initiatives have been taken this year to involve the youth in fulfilling the vision of Ek Bharat, Shreshtha Bharat. He noted that youth across India have participated enthusiastically in the 2021 Festival of the National Youth Parliament and expressed the hope that the event would provide them a platform to share their social and economic ideas and internalize democratic values.
Defence Minister Rajnath Singh has said that the government has given high priority to the development of border areas. He said Border Roads Organisation, BRO, has deployed 67% of its workforce in northern borders. Mr. Singh said this while inaugurating a day-long webinar on Atal Tunnel. The BRO organized the webinar to disseminate the experiences gained on this tunnel for the benefits of IITs, NITs and other technical institutions. Lauding the BRO's efforts and achievements during 2020 amidst COVID-19 restrictions, Mr. Singh said there had been no cut in BRO budget. He said that spirit of national pride is of paramount importance for building such a great structure like Atal Tunnel. Mr. Singh also recalled various past achievements of Indian scientists and engineers and said they have always shown their prowess in various systems. The Defence Minister also released a compendium of documents listing the experiences and challenges encountered during the construction of the largest tunnel in the world above 3,000-meter elevation. The Indian Navy will coordinate second edition of largest coastal defence exercise Sea Vigil 21 starting tomorrow. The 2-day biennial Pan-India Coastal Defence Exercise, inaugural edition of which was conducted in January 2019, will be undertaken along the entire 7,516-kilometre long coastline. The exercise will also include exclusive economic zone of the country and will involve all the 13 coastal states and union territories along with other maritime stakeholders. It will also include the fishing and coastal communities. The entire coastal security setup was reorganized after the 26/11 terror attack at Mumbai, which was launched via the sea route. You are listening to the evening news on All India Radio. A reminder of the headlines before we move on. Prime Minister Narendra Modi says state governments will not have to bear any cost towards vaccinating 3 crore health workers and frontline workers in the first stage. India aims to achieve vaccination for 30 crore people in the next few months, says the Prime Minister. Minister of Finances releases 11th weekly installment of 6,000 crore rupees to the states to meet GST revenue shortfall. Bird flu confirmed in 10 states of the country. Home Minister Amit Shah asserts that coal sector has the potential to be the biggest contributor for making India a $5 trillion economy. And in cricket, Team India snatches a memorable draw from Australia in Sydney Test, 4-match series tied 1-1. For quick news updates round the clock, follow us on our Twitter handle at AIR News Alerts.
चलो मिलकर एक शुरुआत करें, चलो एक फैसला आज करें, मात नहीं तो टोकेंगे, कोरोना को रोकेंगे, चलो एक इरादा करते हैं, चलो खुद से वादा करते हैं, मात नहीं तो टोकेंगे, कोरोना को रोकेंगे.
All India Radio presents World News. News and views from across the globe. What happened and what is up next? The newsmakers and the highlights of the day. From 10:30 to 11 p.m. every night on 100.1 FM All India Radio.
Welcome back. Union Home Minister Amit Shah has said that the coal sector has the potential to be the biggest contributor towards Prime Minister Narendra Modi's vision of making India a $5 trillion economy by 2024. Speaking at the launch of single-window clearing system for coal mines in the country today, Mr. Shah said the production of coal in the country has increased manifold in the last 6 years. He asserted that the sector also has the potential to boost Prime Minister's idea of Atmanirbhar Bharat. Making reference to a series of path-breaking reforms introduced by the NDA government in the last 6 years, Mr. Shah affirmed that the impediments in the coal sector, which included transparency and ease of business, have been addressed. He said the policy of commercial mining will provide additional financial impetus to states and will help create nearly 70,000 jobs. Mr. Shah urged the mining companies to spur coal production so that the dependency on coal imports could be reduced further and energy demands of emerging sectors could be met.
एक लंबे समय से कोयला क्षेत्र की स्थगितता को दूर करना, कोयला क्षेत्र में पारदर्शिता लाना और कोयला क्षेत्र के अंदर जितनी क्षमता पड़ी है, इसका संपूर्ण उपयोग देश के अर्थतंत्र को गति देने के लिए हो पाए, इसके लिए प्रयास हो रहे थे. परंतु नरेंद्र मोदी जी के नेतृत्व में जब से सरकार बनी तब से एडमिनिस्ट्रेटिव रिफॉर्म्स आने शुरू हुए और इस सब का परिणाम ये आया कि आज कोयला क्षेत्र ऐसी जगह पर आकर खड़ा है कि 5 ट्रिलियन इकोनॉमी के हमारे लक्ष्य में सबसे बड़ा कंट्रीब्यूटर अगर कोई एक क्षेत्र होगा तो निश्चित रूप से कोयला क्षेत्र होगा. वहां पर आकर आप खड़े हैं.
The Union government today said that avian influenza has so far been confirmed in 10 states of the country. These states are Kerala, Rajasthan, Madhya Pradesh, Himachal Pradesh, Haryana, Gujarat, Uttar Pradesh, Maharashtra, Delhi and Uttarakhand. Briefing reporters in New Delhi, Animal Husbandry and Dairying Minister Giriraj Singh said that even after writing to the states 3 times, they have not taken proactive measures to contain the spread of the disease. He said if the states had taken such measures, then the spread of avian influenza could have been contained. He said so far there is no report of transmission of the disease into human beings.
विभाग उतना ही अलर्ट है जितना कि कोई और अलर्ट होगा. 10 राज्यों में रिपोर्ट हुआ है. फॉरेस्ट डिपार्टमेंट के साथ मिलकर के राज्य की सरकारें उस एडवाइजरी को अमल में किए होते, चाहे दिल्ली की सरकार जो कह रहा है बत्तख मिला झील में, उन पर एहतियात किया होता तो शायद उनको समझ में आता.
Bird flu was confirmed in Delhi as 8 samples sent for testing were found positive. The culling of live birds was immediately initiated in Sanjay Lake Park in Mayur Vihar Phase 2. The reports arrived from the National Institute of High Security Animal Disease, ICAR, Bhopal this morning. The park had been declared as an alert zone yesterday after more ducks were found dead. Earlier, the Delhi government had announced the closure of Ghazipur wholesale poultry market for 10 days and banned the import of live birds as a preventive measure to stop the potential spread of bird flu. The country's COVID-19 recovery rate has reached 96.43% as more than 6,000 COVID patients recovered during the last 24 hours. The total number of recoveries has gone up to over 1,92,000. The Health Ministry said the actual caseload currently comprises only 2.13% of the total positive cases. Presently, the total number of active cases in the country is around 2,22,000. During the past 24 hours, 16,311 new cases were reported, taking the total number of positive cases in the country to over 1,466,000. The ministry said currently India's case fatality rate is at 1.44%, which is one of the lowest globally. During the last 24 hours, 161 deaths were reported, taking the toll to 1,51,160. According to the Indian Council of Medical Research, more than 6,59,000 tests were conducted during the last 24 hours. The total number of samples tested so far has crossed 18,17 lakh. An international group of experts from the World Health Organization (WHO) will arrive in China on 14th January to probe the origins of the coronavirus pandemic, ending the uncertainty and delay which drew sharp criticism from the World Health Body. The state news agency, quoting China's National Health Commission, said today that expert team from the WHO will conduct a field visit to China on coming Thursday. China's National Health Commission said in a brief statement that the WHO team would work with Chinese scientists during the trip without giving further details. More from a Beijing correspondent.
After more than a year since first official case of novel coronavirus was announced in central Chinese city of Wuhan, China has finally allowed the team of international experts which will investigate the source of the virus and the route of its transmission to the human population. Deputy head of China's National Health Commission said on Saturday that once the WHO experts complete their procedures and finalize their schedule, Chinese experts will go to Wuhan with them to conduct the investigation. However, as of now, there is no announcement on the itinerary of the visiting team. Chinese Foreign Ministry also did not give any further details. Anshuman Mishra for AIR News, Beijing.
Health Minister Dr. Harshvardhan today presided over the 47th convocation of AIIMS New Delhi for the year 2018 and 2019. Dr. Harshvardhan congratulated the AIIMS community for being ranked as number one among medical institutions by the National Institute of Ranking Framework, NIRF, by the Ministry of Education for the third consecutive year. The minister expressed his elation at the perseverance of the institute in continuing to deliver excellence in the field of health. He stated that AIIMS thrived and survived through numerous challenges. Appreciating the Institute's contribution to the ongoing COVID crisis, Dr. Harshvardhan observed that AIIMS has made enormous contributions to patient care, research and education during the crisis. Environment, Forest and Climate Change Minister Prakash Javadekar today released Management Effectiveness Evaluation MEE of 146 national park and wildlife sanctuaries in the country. At present, India has a network of 903 protected areas in the country, covering about 5% of the total geographic area of the country. In order to assess the efficacy of protected areas, evaluation of management effectiveness is required. Speaking at the event, Mr. Javadekar said that what other countries could not achieve, India has achieved, and today it has a thriving biodiversity. He said 70% of the global tiger population, 70% of Asiatic lions and more than 60% of leopards population in India is a certificate of India's thriving biodiversity.
Bangladesh will be the country in focus for the 51st edition of the International Film Festival of India, IFFI. The country in focus is a special segment that recognizes the cinematic excellence and contributions of the country. The festival will be held in Goa from 16th to 24th January. Taking into account the corona pandemic, IFFI is holding its first ever hybrid film festival.
A special film section on the country of focus, Bangladesh, will showcase 4 films: Ji Bondhuli by Tanveer Mukammal, Megh Mallar by Zahidur Rahim Anjan, Under Construction by Rubaiyat Hossain, and Sincerely Yours Dhaka by 11 individual directors. Ji Bondhuli by Tanveer Mukammal is a story of a drummer and his family during the liberation war of Bangladesh against Pakistan in 1971.
দত্তবাড়ি পুজো আসতেছে হর্ষ একখান ধুতি রাখিস ওরে ও দাদা
করেছি সাথী চোখের জলে নদী গড়ে দুঃখ সাগরে ভাসিবি কই তুমি
Megh Mallar, which is directed by Zahidur Rahim Anjan, is an adaptation of writer Akhtaruzzaman Ilyas' story Raincoat. It is a touching story of a simple man caught up in the terror of 1971 Bangladesh.
ওখানে তোরা কি খাস রে মিন্টু? তুমি থাকো তোমার কলেজ নিয়ে, আমাদেরকে দৌলতপুরে রেখে এসো।
স্যার, he is Professor Nurul Huda. Sorry sir, not professor, senior lecturer in chemistry.
Shut up! মাছ মাংসের কথা না হয় বাদই দিলাম, ঘরে ডিমও নেই, বাচ্চারা কি খেতে চায়? একটু খাও।
In addition, the 51st edition of IFFI has announced a lineup of programs that will be showcased on the OTT platform during the festival. It includes retrospective films like Live Flesh, Bad Education and Volver of Spanish filmmaker Pedro Almodovar, The Square and Force Majeure of Swedish film director Ruben Östlund. Besides, the festival will have masterclasses and in-conversation sessions at the OTT platform. Swati Rakheja, News Desk.
The third cricket test between India and Australia at Sydney ended in a draw. Chasing an imposing target of 407 runs set by the hosts, the visitors put up 334 runs for the loss of 5 wickets on the last day of the match. Cheteshwar Pujara and Rishabh Pant fought back valiantly. Pujara scored 77 runs, while Pant slammed 97 runs but fell just 3 runs short of his century. Then the pair of Hanuma Vihari and Ravichandran Ashwin batted for more than 3 hours. Ravichandran Ashwin remained not out for 39 and consumed 128 balls, whereas Vihari scored a gritty and beaten knock of 23 of 161 balls and saved the match. For Australia, Josh Hazlewood and Lance scalped 2 wickets each and Pat Cummins took 1, whereas Mitchell Starc and Cameron Green remained wicketless. The 4-match test series is currently tied at 1-1. And now, let us take a look at the weather forecast for tomorrow. The national capital will have strong surface winds during daytime. The city will observe minimum temperature of 7 degrees Celsius and a maximum of around 18 degrees. Mumbai will experience mainly clear sky. The temperature will hover between 26 and 29 degrees Celsius. Chennai will have generally cloudy sky with light rain. The temperature will vary between 24 and 29 degrees Celsius. In Kolkata, there will be fog or mist in the morning and partly cloudy sky later. The city will observe minimum temperature of 18 degrees Celsius and a maximum of around 29 degrees. Srinagar, Jammu and Gilgit to have fog or mist in the morning and mainly clear sky later. While in Srinagar, temperature will hover between -2 degrees Celsius and 6 degrees. In Jammu, the minimum temperature will be 7 degrees Celsius and the maximum will be around 15 degrees. In Gilgit, the temperature will hover between -2 degrees and 6 degrees Celsius. Leh and Muzaffarabad will have mainly clear sky. In Leh, the minimum temperature will be -14 degrees Celsius, while the maximum will be around 0 degrees. In Muzaffarabad, the temperature will move between 2 and 17 degrees Celsius. Dehradun will observe minimum temperature of 7 degrees Celsius and a maximum of around 23 degrees. The city will observe fog or mist in the morning and mainly clear sky later. And now, before we end the bulletin, the headlines once again. Prime Minister Narendra Modi says state governments will not have to bear any cost towards vaccinating 3 crore health workers and frontline workers in the first stage. India aims to achieve vaccination for 30 crore people in the next few months, says Prime Minister. Ministry of Finance releases 11th weekly installment of 6,000 crore rupees to the states to meet GST revenue shortfall. Bird flu confirmed in 10 states of the country. Home Minister Amit Shah asserts that coal sector has the potential to be the biggest contributor for making India a $5 trillion economy. And in cricket, Team India snatches a memorable draw from Australia in the Sydney Test. The 4-match series tied 1-1. For details of these stories and more, log on to our website newsonair.com and News on AIR app. And with that, we end the evening news. Good night.